Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to 5 Minutes of Torah with the Beth Israel Rabbi. This coming Shabbat, we read one of my favorite parshiot in the entire Torah, Parshat Vayera. I love this Torah portion because it is so rich with narrative. Narrative about Abraham and his family. Narrative that really gives us an insight into how to live a meaningful spiritual and moral life. Narrative that is confounding and yet engaging. One of the most confounding stories found with this parsha is when God announces that he is about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding area because of the evil that is taking place within the cities. Abraham argues with God and actually negotiates with God, beginning with 50, saying that if there are just 50 righteous people b'toch ha'ir, within the city, God, will you destroy the city? And God says no. And Abraham goes down until eventually he reaches 10. Rashi explains that the reason that Abraham begins with 50 is because of the 5 cities in the area. Abraham wants to make sure that there are at least 10 people within each city, literally a minyan, a group of people who will be able to influence the rest, influence the others in those 5 cities, and thus create and bring holiness into an area that is full of evil. Nachmanides, though, raises a question and asks, if this is the case, why is Abraham even willing to go down? Why is Abraham willing to go down to 40? And one of the answers that I believe that we can take away from this is that Abraham is willing to go down even to 10, understanding that if there is a minyan, then there is a group of people who are devoted to holiness, a group of people who are connected socially to one another and are then able to influence others. Even if that group is just within one city, just in one location, they're able to make a difference. This past week, we saw a terrible tragedy, once again, of a terror attack in New York City. This is, of course, something that is horrific, something that is completely unacceptable, and I believe that we all want to know, what is the proper way to respond? For us as Jews, the proper way to respond is through holiness. The proper way to respond is by being that small core group of people who try to make the world a better place and thus influence the rest of the world to do the same. And that, I believe, is the ultimate lesson that comes from this week's parsha. When we see tragedy, when we see hatred, when we see something like what happened in New York, we must respond. We must respond with holiness. We must respond by doing that which is right. And it is, of course, no accident that it is the minyan that is chosen. 10 people who come together to pray, 10 people who come together for a connection to God in order to bring that connection to God and that connection to holiness to the rest of the world. I want to remind us all that even here at Beth Israel, we have that physical opportunity to respond to tragedy and to difficulties by coming to minyan. We have one every day in the morning and the evening. And we also have opportunities to study Torah on a regular basis. And of course, one of the things that is for me very meaningful is that we have a rabbi coming dafka precisely from New York City this coming Saturday night, Rabbi Miles Cohen, to teach us not only how to read Torah, but to teach us what is in Torah. And I want to encourage everyone to please come to minyan on a regular basis and to participate with Rabbi Miles Cohen and Torah U over the course of the next couple weeks. Shabbat Shalom.